And for more on the issues dominating Wang Yi's visit, we're joined via Skype with Dali Yang of the University of Chicago. He's a professor in the Department of Political Science. Why don't we start with the story that seems to be getting a lot of traction? It appears that perhaps there is an agreement between the United States and China when it comes to the issue of the DPRK. They've apparently reached some sort of consensus. How important is this?
Well, this is quite important in terms of really smoothing the relations between the two countries. But for China, there is actually sort of the issue of increasingly the Chinese public is becoming very unhappy with North Korea because the nuclear bombs, the missile tests are actually happening across the Chinese border. And in fact, Chinese residents can feel the bombs when they go off in terms of the tremors on the ground. So in that sense, increasingly the public are beginning to turn, and I think the Chinese leadership recognize that. At the same time, the Chinese leadership also recognize that actually the recent actions by North Korea are turning South Korea away from China. The two countries actually have maintained very cordial relations in recent years. And the talk by South Korea and the United States about a missile defense system in the South, again, are beginning to get to the considerations of the Chinese leadership. So in that sense, it's a kind of it's not simply the talks between the two countries directly, but there are a lot of other moves happening. And I think actually for the Chinese joining this pact, agreement actually on UN sanctions is the right move for the Chinese leadership.
But of course, the South China Sea remaining a point of friction. What needs to happen there to ease these tensions, do you think?
Well, I think and this showcases the fact that the U.S. and China cooperates across a wide spectrum of issues, but also there are disagreements, and especially prominent has been the South China Sea. There, I think China and this generation of leadership has decided that they want to assert China's rights to the sovereignty of those islands. And of course, for the Chinese, it's purely defensive in terms of what they are doing. The problem, however, is that there are competing claims over some of the islands from neighboring countries. As a result, what is defense on the part of China may be seen as assertiveness of offense by countries in the region. So in that sense, actually, the U.S. actually is sort of increasingly being asked to show its concern by the countries in the region. And in that sense, I think actually this issue is not going to go away anytime soon because the Chinese is going to be very assertive in defending its rights to those islands. The challenge, therefore, for the two big countries is that they know that this is confrontational, but at the same time, they want to manage it in such a way such that there would not be a serious accident as to cause a serious conflagration.
Another area of concern for China, of course, is the deployment of this THAAD missile system in the Republic of Korea. Wang Yi has expressed concerns about it. He said that the system goes far beyond the defense needs of the Korean Peninsula, and the coverage would mean it will reach deep into the Asian continent. Do you think both sides can find some headway there on this issue?
Well, I think actually there have been different signals from both sides. The Chinese are increasingly concerned. In the past, they sometimes saw that the North Korean moves actually sometimes could be useful to China. But now they see that whatever moves the North Koreans are doing actually are in turn causing South Korea and the U.S. to get together, including moving on the missile defense system, the THAAD system. So as a result, actually, they are beginning to see the repercussions. The next step moves by the North Korean moves, and therefore, in fact, the talk by the U.S. to deploy such a defense system, in fact, is also causing China to become more proactive in joining in the sanctions. So in that sense, actually, this is all part of an overall move in terms of this multilateral diplomacy. I think the U.S. recognizes the six-party talks actually has been off for quite a while, so that's not going to work. Therefore, it's important to play tough. The challenge, however, is sanctions are not going to do that much to North Korea because this is truly one of the most isolated countries of the world.
Dali Yang with his analysis for us from Chicago live. Thanks so much.